Hello, hello, and welcome back to the channel. WebZip1277 here, and I want to talk about a little recent development that is pretty exciting for me personally. On Monday, Kabam released what I have been calling their Champions Grid. They released an updated version of it, and I think that's pretty nice of them. Not only did they update it with the characters that have since been added, but they have also taken a lot of the guesswork out of the mystery boxes that are in clusters by placing characters such as Nebula and, well, even though she's not officially in there, let's just say it, Medusa, and kind of taking some of the guesswork out in terms of who still may or may not be in the running. And that's really cool, and I appreciate it, and I'm sure that a lot of the players and fans do as well. And while there is some insight given, there's also been some questions raised, at least by me, as to their organizational methods and how they're basically kind of ordering this list, because that's basically what it is. It's a list of their champions. And so I've probably devoted way more thought to that than I should, but hey, I'm a Marvel nerd, so I need something to obsess about, and this is perfect. So, But yeah, I think that while they have taken a lot of the guesswork out, there are still some questions about how they're going to proceed in the future in terms of organizing this list so that maybe we as players can really kind of, get a good handle on what may or may not be coming down the pipeline in terms of future champions. So I'm going to get a little bit into that as we go further into this video. And I'd also like to say that this is going to be the first in a series of hopefully short videos where I kind of speculate as to who is going to show up in the remaining mystery boxes on the Champions Grid. So I'm not going to do any guesswork in this video. I'm not going to speculate as to who's going to be in box B1 or what have you. But in the next video, I will just kind of devote that I'll devote a box to each video, and there are 6, technically 7, but again, we know Medusa is coming out. So I'm going to do 6, and then that should cover our champions that are going to be released for the rest of the year. And then I'll probably follow it up with a video of who should show up in 2018 in this game. And I think that's going to be a lot of fun because I definitely have some ideas and opinions about who should be in the game that isn't already in the game, at least as a playable character or playable characters. So anyways, I'm going to bring up one little document that I did. I basically just kind of typed out the grid here. And what I did is where there was a mystery box at the end, I bolded it, and then I bolded the character who came before and who came after. And as you can see, a good chunk of the bottom is pretty much accounted for, and that's all to the good. Basically, we just have 1, 2, 3, about 4 clusters here. And I know that there are technically two mystery boxes here that I could have broken up, but since they're so close together, I just decided to kind of keep them all under one. So it makes this a little bit more readable. But anyways, one of the questions that I've had for a long time has had to do with how Kabam is organizing and listing champions who have multiple versions of themselves. And a good kind of immediate example is going to be Colossus here. So let me go ahead and bring them up. So we have Unstoppable Colossus, who is on the grid before Colossus Classic. And again, I know this is probably going to sound a bit nitpicky, but why is that? Why does Unstoppable Colossus come before Colossus? Okay, and I know there's probably something either in how they're coding the names or what have you, but in terms of how they're showing up, I mean, the way I see it, if you have multiple versions of a character, like Colossus, okay, let's just say you have Colossus, and we'll just call it the classic version, you know, the vanilla version, I don't know. We'll just call it Colossus or Colossus Classic, like in parentheses. Well, the way I would do it, and I know I'm not Kabam, but, you know, the way I would do it next would be I would list it as Colossus and then in parentheses Unstoppable, which would switch the order. But that's not happening here. And again, I wouldn't have an issue with this. I wouldn't have as big an issue with this. I do like things in order. And again, you know, this is alphabetically by code name, presumably. And for the most part it is, but when you get to characters, again, with multiple versions of themselves, it's difficult to tell. Another example, let's just go over to Captain America here. All right, so there he is. All right, you have Captain America World War II before Captain America nothing, or Captain America Classic, or Captain America Original. Again, why? This is out of order. And it doesn't have anything to do with the order in which they were released, because Captain America Original was in there before World War II. You know, Daredevil Classic was in there before Daredevil Netflix. I mean, again, how are they naming these characters, and in terms of how they are putting them on here? And to make it even more confusing, let's go ahead and take a look at Iron Man. So here he is, good old Iron Man. Okay, so you've got Iron Man Classic or Iron Man Original, all right? And then you've got Iron Man Superior Iron Man. And that's in order. That's in alphabetical order. And why is that? As I recall, Superior Iron Man wasn't in the game upon release, but he was probably one of the first characters that was released into the game, as I recall. It's been a couple of years. But so again, there are inconsistencies with regard to how Kabam is actually kind of putting these out. And again, I know that probably seems nitpicky, but again, you know, in terms of, you know, where they're placing these champions, it does make a difference, because if it's not completely consistent, then you leave a lot of room for confusion down the line. One other issue that I have noticed, and is the issue of titles. And the most obvious candidate right here is Ms. Marvel, because as you can see, we've got Ms. Marvel Kamala Khan and Ms. Marvel Carol Danvers. At least that's how I'm, you know, differentiating them. Which, okay, you know, again, they're out of order, again, alphabetically, no matter how you slice that. But also take a look at where they are in relation to the other characters. Okay, like over here, earlier in the row, you have Magneto, and then you have you have Magic, and then you have Magneto Marvel Now. I'll bring these up, and then you have Magneto Classic. And again, If it was Magneto Original, I guess that could come after Magneto Marvel Now. Again, I know, splitting hairs, but I want some clarity here, you know? Which is it, so that way we can know going forward. Then you've got Medusa. I mean, you know, the Shadow is her. And everything is nice and alphabetically at this point. And then you have Ms. Marvel, which to me, Ms. Marvel is MS because of the abbreviation. But then, then you go to the next row and you have Moon Knight, which is going to come before MS. MO, Mordo, those are before MS. And so it leads to the question of how are they listing titles? And the only explanation I can come up with that makes sense in terms of this grid is that Ms. Marvel, be it Kamala Khan or Carol Danvers, is being listed with the spelling Miss Marvel, MISS, which is a misnomer because there are differences between Mrs., Ms., and Miss according to the way that we give women titles, which, you know, I'm not going to get into that, but it's the only explanation that makes sense. So the Ms. Marvels are, at least as I can comprehend it, they are starting with the MISS on the list. And again, that's important. That is important in terms of where they go, so that way we know, you know, who is between them, because we've got a mystery box right after Carol Danvers. And so, you know, it's things like this that kind of lead me to the not the conclusion, but the idea that for the most part, you know, Kabam is like, we've more or less got this organized by name. But you get down into some of the minutia of, you know, issues of consistency in terms of iterations of a champion or people with titles, and it's just like, okay, what's next? I mean, let's just say you have a character, a champion with Mr. in their moniker, like Mr. Sinister or Mr. Fantastic. Okay? Are either of those characters going to show up in the mystery box right after Carol Danvers' Ms. Marvel? Or are they going to show up in the mystery box right between Mordo and Nebula? These are things that matter, at least as far as I'm concerned, because it helps take a lot of guesswork out of the issue. And, you know, I mean, we like to try to figure this stuff out. We like to see if we can make guesses with the information that we have at hand. So it helps when that information is good. And so, again, a lot of insight as to who's going where, and kind of that leads to who won't be in and who might be in. But there's still some issues there with regard to how they list this stuff and organize it. So, you know, it's, I mean, it is what it is. At the end of the day, Kabam can do kind of whatever they want. And believe me, I know that they can do whatever they want, because I have a feeling there will be some characters in there that I don't think should be in there based on the way that they've got their naming schemes set up. But, well, we'll just see in the coming months. But in the meantime, hey, at the end of the day, it's their game. They can do what they want, and yeah, that's just kind of how it's going to be. In the meantime, I think this update is great. It definitely has helped me kind of narrow down some of my speculations, and I'll be getting to those in another series of videos. So in the meantime, I don't know, what do you guys think? I mean, did I miss anything important as to how Kabam has got these guys listed and set up and everything? What do you think of their organization methods? You know, did you expect this new updated champions grid? Do you like it? let me know. I'd really appreciate your thoughts and insights on this. So, in the meantime, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy it, please go ahead and leave a like. If you haven't yet and you're feeling particularly ambitious, go ahead and subscribe. It really helps me out. And if you have any thoughts, any comments, please, I would really like to hear them. I would definitely like to invite more discussion, particularly about this topic, because again, I suppose this is me being an English nerd or, an information sciences nerd, but, I think stuff like this is going to be important in terms of giving us players insights as to what Kabam is going to send down the pipeline to us. So, and if you get the option, or if you get the or if you're so inclined, go ahead and follow me on Twitter too. My Twitter handle is the same as my in-game name and my YouTube channel name. It's WebZip1277. And hey, thanks for watching. Enjoy the game, and I will see you later.